Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tuesday edition of Video Clips. Trying a little bit different type of recording today, so be patient with me. I've never done it this way before, so we'll hope for good things. I'm going to start with some announcements. First of all, reminding everybody that we do post these videos on BitChute and Parler, so you can find them there. And also for news that is maybe, how do I want to describe it, a little more controversial, sign up for my newsletter, which is also free. You can send an email to pampopper@msn.com, and we'll send you a couple of the back issues and also sign you up for future issues of the COVID Forbidden Chronicles. And also every week on our Wellness Forum Health website, I post a forbidden video where I can talk about things that are a little bit more direct, let's put it that way. So I think everybody knows what I'm talking about here, and you can get some other information through other sources through us if you choose to. Also want to remind everybody my book is out. The book that I authored with Shane Pryor called COVID Operation, What Happened, Why It Happened, What's Next is available on Amazon. You can order it here if you want an autographed copy, and there are some problems with people in foreign countries having access to the book for download, and we are fixing that. So stay tuned for an announcement. Maybe even later this week, I'll be able to make the announcement that the book is available. And I'll give you instructions and that sort of thing. But it is a fixable problem. We just have to do some, working around some of the limitations that are, troubled times we live in. We are always having to make adjustments, right? A couple of other things related to all of this that we're talking about. We started having MAFA meetings here last week, and we had our first one on Thursday. We watched a short video, we had some discussion, and I thought it was great. I think everybody enjoyed getting together. So every Thursday at 6 o'clock in our office, so if you live in driving distance of Central Ohio, please come and join us. And remember, we also have Tuesday night health-related events, cooking classes and discussions and things of that nature as well. So both of those things are great opportunities to be in the same room with humans, which, as it turns out, human beings really actually need. Also want to let you know that I'm doing MAFA, Make Americans Free Again, updates, conference call updates once a week, November 5th, 12th, and 19th at noon Eastern time. And if you want to sign up for those, again, my email address is pampopper@msn.com. I just feel there's so much going on, and while the formal content that I prepare for here is good, you guys like it, sometimes there's like late breaking news because we're in court and we're getting ready to file in another state. And so everybody wants to know, do we have to wait a whole week to find out what's going on? So I'm going to do those update calls, and I'm also going to be doing some free Zoom sessions called an Informed Look at COVID-19. And these are going to be limited to like 20 people each. They are free. If you want to sign up for them, please let us know. We're not recording them, and please don't sign up for a time that you can't show up, because somebody else will not get to be in, and we're not going to post it anywhere. I just want to go through some things that I think people want to know about, like how to deal with elderly people and how to deal with kids in schools, and there's just a lot to talk about that people would like to talk about, sort of like an operations manual for the times that we live in, if that makes some sense. So if any of this interests you, then get in touch with me through pampopper@msn.com. All right. So some of you know we have a conference coming up, and for those of you who can't join us, we will have a video platform so that you'll get to hear the speakers and what they have to say. We have amazing speakers. And one of them is David Katz. And one of the reasons I chose David Katz, we talked about this and having him speak at our conference long before everything that's going on started right now. And one of the reasons that I have always been gravitated to David Katz and the things that he has to say is that I think he has such a reasonable approach to everything. I'm more of a polarizing person, and I can't make myself something I'm not. Other people are different, but I think that David Katz brings to the table a very reasonable approach. And one of the things that he said one time that I really, really liked and took to heart, he said, you know, we have to make sure that we're not making association with us an unpleasant thing. I mean, we want to build a big tent, invite everybody in who's trying to do better for themselves from a diet and lifestyle perspective, and stop being so exclusionary and judgmental. And I agree with him. There's just way too much harshness about, like, if you don't do it our way, you're not doing it, and if you're not perfect, you don't care about your health. And so I thought that what would be nice is to share some of his thoughts about the importance of diet and health, and you know, a post-COVID life where everybody pays attention to their health in a different way and perhaps learns from this. And I'm just going to share with you from a recent article of his. He said, hard as it may be to accept right now, the COVID pandemic will end, and before all that, and before long, in the grand scheme of things, it will have come and gone in a vividly memorable but ultimately short span of our lives. I know it seems like it's forever now, but it's only been since March. It just seems like it was going slowly because everybody's so impatient for things to get better, me included, by the way. In contrast, the pandemic of cardiometabolic disease of our own entirely unnecessary manufacture has been siphoning years from the lives and life from years all around us every day that every one of us has been alive. In fact, over the lifespans of those reading this near the time I write it, these contrived pandemics have been worsening every year. The toll is staggering. As I had cause to note in response to the COVID risk distortions that persist even now, heart disease alone kills 650,000 Americans every year. That's 1,800 of us every day. Most of these deaths are premature, and most come at the cost of more years from life than the casualties from COVID. Poor diet alone stands out amongst the behavioral root causes of premature death as the now undisputed #1. Poor diet, something to which we do not accidentally fall victim, but something we engineer and market for the sake of profit at the expense of public health, kills 500,000 of us prematurely every year. That is far more than twice the toll of COVID to date in the United States. Colleagues and I have published on this matter more than once, and the mainstream media have made note of it more than once, but not nearly enough. More than 60% of American adults have at least one of the conditions that makes a bad COVID outcome many multiples more likely, and more than 40% of us have 2 or more of these conditions, elevating our personal and communal risk astronomically. And I think what he's saying here is so very important. We had an epidemic of Americans dying in the United States long before this pandemic ever happened. They were dying of cardiometabolic diseases, 1,800 people a day. And if what we're seeing now is a crisis, we should have been really, really alarmed by that. But it just, you know, in my opinion, what's happened is it's been normalized. Everybody's taking drugs for something. If you're older than 40 years old and you're taking medications for something, that just doesn't seem that unusual right now. And we need to get to the place where we're a little bit shocked by it. And I think that putting it in these stark terms brings us closer to that point. Drugs and bariatric surgery, he goes on to say, can attenuate this toll, but they are, as we in preventive medicine like to point out, efforts to mop a flooded floor while failing to turn off the spigot. Lifestyle is the remedy here. An overhaul of personal, communal, and ultimately the national pattern of diet and activity is the foundational fix. Lifestyle, at odds with longevity and vitality, is what corrodes the foundation of our health out from under us. I will be privileged this coming week to address my lifestyle medicine colleagues as we convene in the hundreds or even thousands, albeit virtually, in deference to the pandemic. I will espouse to them what I'm espousing to you now, the acute case for chronic health. What we have is chronic disease. The opposite of that is chronic health. And I think we have to start promoting that to people. We speak routinely of chronic disease. We rarely refer as explicitly to the obvious remedy, which is chronic health. Were we to do so, we might recognize the shared liability of the two. Chronic means sustained, but also hints at slow, gradual, and delayed. We are a people famously intolerant of gratification delayed, the cheeseburger or pizza now, instead of the health that comes later from not having it. Enter COVID. All the gradual advantages of health and vitality are now acute defenses against SARS-CoV-2 as well. There is all around us now an acute danger making the case for self-defense in the form of chronic health. This confluence of the sustained and immediate is apparent to an indelibly teachable moment. I say, let's use it. I'm not alone. Even before this began, diet had been highlighted as the leading cause of premature death in America and a call issued for corrective action. More recently, during the pandemic, a committee of the American Heart Association recognized the significance of diet as a veritable vital sign, calling for its assessment with every patient. And I think that would be such a fabulous step in the right direction if doctors just asked about it. It would be an amazing thing to bring it up. But in any case, at this advanced stage of my career, Dr. Katz writes, after some 30 years of teaching, research, and patient care, that is now my day job, making diet the vital sign it deserves to be. We have the tools to do it with the first major reconception of dietary assessment in our lifetimes. We can capture full dietary details, type, quality, servings, nutrient levels in roughly 60 seconds. Learn more as the spirit moves you to. And so again, I think David Katz is the perfect person for the moment in terms of what we're looking to do as a company, aside from all this COVID thing, which is to go from chronic disease to chronic health. I never had put it that way, and I think he did a masterful job of doing it. We should pay attention to that. So I fully expect that his lecture at our conference will not ignore COVID. He doesn't ignore it in this particular article. But he puts it in the context of, first of all, we have bigger problems in healthcare in this country, and we should pay attention to them. And those bigger problems are part of what has led to our current crisis, if you want to call it that. I mean, what would the impact of this virus have been had everybody in the United States been taking excellent care of themselves? It would have been significantly less. It wouldn't have cured all the problems that you've heard me talking about on this channel, but it would have been significantly less than what we're dealing with now. So I guess what I'm saying is amen to Dr. Katz. I'm on board with what he's saying, and let's pay attention to getting ourselves out from under this mess that we're in, and let's learn something from it and pay attention to health. Once again, my email address is pampopper@msn.com. And if you, and please pass this on to anybody who you think would enjoy learning more about all of the stuff that's going on right now, COVID and otherwise. And I'll be back to you tomorrow with more news.